Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sometimes I Forget Who I Am podcast, where we talk about the day-to-day moments that shape you into the baddie that you are. My name is Sarah Jane. I am your host. I'm happy to be here. I actually had this podcast for probably 2 or 3 years now, and it got away from me because life started lifing. But now I am back after the image that came to my mind was like being hit in the face with a rock. That's a terrible image. But that's kind of what it takes sometimes for people to like fucking stop what they're doing, And I was just, life started lifing. And sometimes the mind, because it's conditioned, what I've discovered is along the way, you think one thing. You think that you're this way. You think that you're that way. But then you come up against a crossroads and you have to make a decision. And that decision that you make actually tells you about who and what you really are. Right? You can't hide it with the conscious mind. Like, no, I'm this way. Like, I guess what I'm getting at is I always felt like self-love was important to me. So I would speak about it. You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself. I have affirmations all over the place. But at some point in time, I came up against a crossroad. I had taken a hit on one of my avenues of income. And it scared me. Like, it scared me, right? Because I'm in survival mode. So I have bills to pay. I have a house to maintain. I have a car to keep. So as you all know, when you're at that crossroads, sometimes you make a decision that you think is the right decision, but you know damn well in your heart of hearts, that's not the right direction. And so life started lifing, and I thought I loved myself more than I did. I ended up in survival mode and fear mode, and that's just due to the conditioning of my mind. And it was important for me to go through that chapter because I had to be real with myself about certain things that I wasn't being real with myself about. I wasn't consciously lying to myself. Like, obviously, I think deep inside, I knew I was lying. I did know I was lying. But consciously, I really thought, this is what I got to do, and this is the plan, and this will take me to where I'm going, and this is how I'll get there. So my intention was pure. Like, I wasn't out trying to consciously self-sabotage myself. But that's what ended up happening. I wasn't listening to myself, and I just started going in the opposite direction of my creativity. And it took about 1.5 years before, boom, I get hit, I get humbled, and it's like the universe was like, no more. Like, you're not going to stop and pivot yourself, then we will. But, it's going to be harder. But I had 1.5 years to make that choice. I had 1.5 years to face those fears. But as you know, the world and the society, these beliefs and the way we do things, they're just terrible. It's designed to kill us, right? It's like heighten our stress to max capacity. It's just not the way that we should be living. So it's hard to face those fears. It's hard to make those decisions, especially when your lifestyle depends on it, right? So I end up getting really sick. I knew something was wrong leading up to it, but I ended up getting really sick. I went into shock at my mom's house. I was so blessed I was at my mom's house, though. I ended up going into shock. Her and my sister found me. I'm unconscious in the bathroom, take me to a hospital, stabilize me, transfer me to another hospital, get a blood transfusion, start running all these tests. And I got back some results that were a little frightening. Although I'm at a crossroads, and I do have the ability through diet and exercise and lifestyle change to fix this on certain levels. And then, of course, I am on medicine. So, but I'm in this space where basically it's like, okay, we have 6 months. We're going to give you this type of treatment, but you're also going to have to do diet, exercise, and lifestyle change. And then in 6 months, we'll go back in for another biopsy and see if we need surgery or not. It's kind of interesting to find myself at this crossroads because as upsetting and sad as it is, it's also an opportunity. What's that movie? He says, you want more goodness in your life. You pray to God. God doesn't give you goodness. He gives you the opportunity to be good, right? I don't think it was like goodness. That was just an example. But, you want an opportunity to, be more faithful to yourself. And you ask for that. You ask for that. And God doesn't give you. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm getting all fucked up. But you know what I'm saying. Like, God gives you the opportunity to do whatever you're praying about and whatever you're praying for. So, I genuinely, I don't actually even, I was about to say, I don't even really say God anymore. I say creator. So, and I don't really say pray. I say speak on. But for lack of better words, just so that you understand what I'm saying, the point is, when there's something that you desire truly in your heart of hearts, and there's something that you need, when you pray or when you speak on it, the universe is going to give you the opportunity to obtain what you're looking for, but they're going to give you the opportunity. They're not going to give you what you're asking for. They're going to give you the opportunity to become the person that can receive what you're asking for. So I think there was a part of me that I wanted out of the trauma-bonded lifestyle that I had created for myself. I had a lot of people around me that didn't really care about me. They cared about what I could do for them, which I get it. It's the great game of business, right? But at some point in time, you got to realize that's not the life you're supposed to be living. You're not supposed to be living a life where you're surrounded by people that don't give a fuck about you. They only care about what you can do for them. How many lifetimes have we had relationships, partnerships, experiences where that's been the case? And so it doesn't surprise me that I put myself in that situation. I'm probably more comfortable in that frequency because at least I'm a boss, right? At least I'm coming in and I'm fucking doing shit, and these people don't want to lose me because I'm high flying, right? I created that. I created that environment, not just in one space, but in multiple spaces with multiple people. I have multiple projects going on in my life. And from what I can see, pretty much all of them were all tied into, what can you do for me? I didn't realize that, I don't think, until I got sick and I was out of the equation. And the same day I get discharged, I get a phone call from like who you would consider the bosses or the leaders of each of my projects going on. And I thought that in itself was crazy. Each quote unquote boss or leader like called me the same day I got discharged and insinuated about working. Like, when are you going to be able to come back? Oh, like, yeah, like, what? I literally just got discharged. Give me a fucking day. So that was really eye-opening for me because I was like, holy shit, like nobody around me actually cares about me and or even has the capacity to care, right? Like the worst part is I wasn't even mad because the people that I'm referring to are good people. They really are. They're good people. They're living their lives. And just because I had something stop in my life doesn't mean their life stops, right? So do they even consciously realize what they were doing? That's how they were acting. Do they even realize that, So it's not something that I need to be upset about, but it is something that I need to see. It's just like, open your fucking eyes. Some people, they're in it because that's a business deal. And that's what it is. It's not a friendship. It's a fucking business deal. So make sure that you're making a return on your investment. Time to collect, motherfucker. Sorry, guys, but you can tell I'm sassy because I just been through some serious shit. And I was like, this whole thing was so eye-opening, though. And again, even though this was all happening, like, somewhere in my heart of hearts, I had to have known, right? I had to have known, like, these people are draining my energy and I'm allowing it to happen. I can't be mad at them. I gotta look at myself. Why am I allowing that to happen? Oh, because I'm nervous, Yeah, I'm doing this and I'm not in love with it. And I get to deal with people I don't really want to deal with, although the money's good. And I think that's such a big crossroads that so many of us land in, because it's like we're over here doing things we really don't want to do, but we're doing it because of the financial structure. And that's just a crazy concept to me. So, I have spent years studying energy, the energy field, the conscious and the subconscious mind. And I understand how manifestation works, genuinely, how to create a physical, tangible object or experience in your reality through the combination of thought and feeling. I understand how that works because I've done that. I have my second Mercedes-Benz sitting out in my driveway. My first Benz was a full manifestation. That's a story for another day, but I literally cut out a fake Mercedes emblem. I printed it out from Google. I laminated it with Scotch tape. I put it on my steering wheel. And for months, I drove around and I was like, this is my Benz. This is my Benz. And everybody was cracking up like, okay, And then the transmission, I finally ended up in a Benz. And then the transmission went like 6 years later. So it's time for a new one, but I wasn't expecting the trans to go. It just kind of happened out of nowhere. All right, well, we're going to start all over again. So at first, my mind went into these thoughts like, I don't want to drop. You got to put down $2,000-$3,000 for a car, and then you got to pick up a $500 payment. That's like a normal thing these days, which is like, what the fuck? So there was all these thoughts that came into my mind, like, I'll just get a cheap car. It doesn't really matter. Get me from A to B, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, so finally made it through those thoughts into bigger thoughts, like, I can get whatever fucking car I want. What are you talking about? Just expand your income, do what you got to do, right? And then finally I got to a point where I said, I'm just going to let it go. What do I truly want? I want a Mercedes. I'm going to let it go. I ended up borrowing my mom's minivan, bless her heart. I was out here in the mom van for 8 months. And I just started all over again. I printed out a Mercedes emblem. I put it on the steering wheel. And I whipped the minivan for 8 months. And I just knew in my head, when the right one shows up, I'll know it. I'll know intuitively that's the right car for me. And I had made the decision it was going to be a Mercedes. I'm not huge in BMW or Audi or Jaguar. I love Jeep and I love Mercedes. Those are my two. So I said, Mercedes is what I'm getting. I'm a Mercedes girl. I did it once. I'll do it again. So I finally let it go. I got the fake emblem on the steering wheel. I'm whipping around the minivan. And then next thing you know, I had made the choice to stop looking at cheaper cars, right? So I started taking action steps that were a little bit more in alignment with like, okay, I'm getting a Mercedes. So every once in a while, I would just pop online. I'd look at CarMax, or I'd look at the Benz dealership, or I would just start looking at some places, even Carvana. I was like, shit, have it shipped here? Like, that's crazy, right? So I'm getting all excited. I'm getting a Benz. Now I'm in the frequency to receive it. I let it go, just open up to it. I'm whipping the mom van. Everybody's goofing because of the steering wheel sticker. And I don't care. I'm having a ball about it. Like, whatever. Next thing you know, one thing leads to another. I hop on CarMax. I find this Mercedes. It just pops up. It just came to me. Like, the fact that I even wanted to get on CarMax, it was a random intuitive nudge to get on CarMax. And I found this car. It was in Virginia. I paid $99 to have it shipped up. And at first I didn't even know it was going to be shipped up. I wasn't totally sure because I didn't get like a confirmation right away. It was like, is somebody looking at the car? I don't know. So anyway, all said and done, the car gets shipped up. I go to test drive it, absolutely fall in love with it. Everything lines up so easily and effortlessly. And here's the kicker. By the time they shipped it up and had it inspected and ready for me to test drive, it landed on Valentine's Day. So I went 8 months, almost 9 months without a vehicle. And I ended up getting my Mercedes on Valentine's Day. And the whole thing was so eye-opening for me because in the beginning I was trying to control it. I was trying to, I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to do that and it's going to be so hard and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like that you don't even have to go there. Like, let it go. Let the how go. Let it go. So this is where my whole story is kind of circling in with each other, the whole thing here, because what's happened recently has been an eye-opening experience for me. So I have 6 months of extreme lifestyle change and medicine that I'm going to be on, treatments that I'm going to be doing for 6 months. So after talking to the doctor, because my work is stressful, if you will, she spoke with me about, if you're asking me outside of the money, yes, you should be taking a leave. I don't know if you can do that financially. Maybe you could work from home or whatever you can do, but you're going to be coming and going from the doctor's office a lot, and you just got to be able to stay in a stress-free place. And I agree with her, because there's nothing more important than my life. So after coming out, I realized in my head, like, what am I going to do now? Because if I stop all of my projects, that means I immediately stop my income. And I just thought, that's not even a question, though. I'm stopping everything that is stressful in my life. It's being immediately stopped. And so that's what I did. I took a 6-month leave from one project. I took another 6-month leave from another project. I haven't been answering my phone for anybody. I'm just not ready to talk to anybody. I don't have answers for anybody. I'm still trying to get answers for myself. And so I'm just really in this space of like, everything has to stop. And the first thing your mind wants to do is say, well, how? How then? If I can't go down this path that I've created, that's my how, then how am I going to maintain my bills? How am I going to maintain my lifestyle? And I'm realizing more and more the importance of letting go of the how and focusing on the goal. Let go of the how. I don't need to know how. Just like I didn't know how the Mercedes was going to show up. I didn't know when. I didn't know how. I had literally surrendered it, and I was present and I was excited for it, but I was also grateful that I had the van I'm driving. My mom, bless her heart, just letting me use the mom van out here. I had everything that I needed, and I was grateful. And I was just excited for my car. But how was never in the equation, because I didn't know how it was going to happen. It wasn't until I surrendered it and just didn't care that the universe did the how. The universe did its job. It figured out how, and it made it easily into my reality. And ironically, just the way that it lined up, it was fine. I had the money for the down payment. Everything was easy. It was smooth, and it landed on Valentine's Day. Just so crazy. So this time around with this experience, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I am surrendering the how. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. But what I can tell you is that I'm bringing back my podcast, because that is a place for me to express myself. Everybody has a story. You have a story. It's important to talk about it. You don't know whose life you're affecting. And back when I was doing my podcast, I had so much fun doing that, because I was expressing, and I was, meeting people within the community, and I was getting involved, and that's the type of stuff that I love to do. And so it makes more sense to me that for me to go down that avenue, I will find a way naturally to maintain my lifestyle, for avenues of income to open up to me, to be able to maintain. And hey, let's make more money than I was making before, right? Let's step into the next space, the next chapter of life, which finally involves me listening to myself and genuinely hearing my higher self and my soul, and being like, you know what? Yeah, this is a scarier path because I don't know how, but that's where I have to make the decision. Do I trust that something bigger is at play here? Do I trust that my higher self, or the universe, or God, or creator, however you see that, do I trust that that is there for me, working on my behalf? My job is to relax, be present, get clear about what I want, and get excited because it's on his way. On his way. That's interesting. Yeah, I can't believe I just said that. That is so goofy. That's so silly. That is so funny, because I gotta tell you, I'm single. So That is so wild. So maybe my man's is on his way and my lifestyle is on its way, and just it's time for me to come out of the lifestyle that I had created that was not healthy for me, clearly. Sorry guys, my phone just keeps going off. It's my sisters. Shout out to my sisters. They just be blowing me up right now. Also, it's 4th of July today. It's the morning of the 4th of July. So happy 4th of July to all of you. 250 years. It's incredible. There's so much up for debate about our history and everything, but we're going to leave that for a different day. Today, we're just going to celebrate the idea of freedom and feeling free, and that ties in perfectly with what I'm talking about. So wherever you're at in your life, areas that need to be adjusted or looked at, or that you know in your heart of hearts, like that's not the right direction, just start to make small moves. You don't have to be drastic and crazy, but listen to yourself, because you are the coolest, most beautiful person that you're ever going to be friends with is yourself. And just listen to yourself like you would listen to a friend. Guide yourself like you would guide a friend. And take in consideration your thoughts and your feelings, and just get clear about what you're looking for, and then get excited about it and be present. Slowly work day by day, knowing that my life is changing, and it's changing for the better. Even though I have to go through all this crazy shit, it's changing for the better. I'm changing for the better. And if it wasn't for this traumatic event happening, I would have just kept pushing myself, doing things I don't love to do, having conversations with people that don't love me, and we deserve better. We all deserve better than that. That's a part of our conditioning, and that's exactly what we were taught to do. And I don't think I want to do that anymore. So neither should you. Anyway, happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Let's celebrate freedom today. Don't forget to get outside and touch grass. Literally, the other day I came home and I just went out in the yard and I just laid down in the grass and I just touched the grass and I looked at the sky and I just thought, geez, it's been too long since I've done that. It's hella underrated. So get out there and touch some grass and drink some water and do a couple jumping jacks and know that you're so loved and supported. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for me. Keeps me moving in the right direction. You can also hop over to my website at sarabundant, sarabundant.com. Subscribe that way so that you get notified when my book comes out. Otherwise, I also have another podcast called A Phone Call with Freedom. That is on every Monday. So if you're around, pop back on Monday, because I'm starting both of these podcasts up again. So bigger, better, stronger, faster. Let's go. I'm excited, and I'm extremely excited to have you here with me on the journey. All right. Love you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you Monday for A Phone Call with Freedom. But otherwise, if at any given moment you forget for a second who you are, I want you to hop back onto my page, hop back onto the Sometimes I Forget Who I Am podcast, so that I can remind you who you truly are.